Welcome to the second part of our discussion of the nature of the state. This time now, we will concentrate on sovereignty. Let me start with this quote from Marsha Blackburn. We need to protect the sovereignty of our nation, and we need to protect the security of our people here in the country. So this one is emphasizing how important it is for us to make sure that we keep our sovereignty, or sometimes also known as our something, but of course not exactly the same, but freedom and independence. Okay, so the sovereignty under international law says that if it satisfies the Montevideo criteria for statehood, what are these again? You have the people, the territory, government, and the sovereignty. It is assumed that the state exercises absolute and exclusive authority and control over its territory. It rules supreme over within its territory and does not recognize any outside superior authority. So that is the ideal. And we will go now to the six essential characteristics of sovereignty. That once you become a state, all these are within your power. Sovereignty is perpetual. So the power of the state stays with the state for as long as it has all the four elements. It is also comprehensive. It operates upon all persons and things within a state. What does this mean? Even if you are a foreigner and you go to that country, you cannot just say that you cannot just state that you are protected by the law of your land because once you go to that territory within that sovereignty, then that means that you have now given up that right and gave the new place, or the place that you have gone to, the power to rule over you, unless you are part of the VIP people who are exempted from that rule. There are such cases, like for example a dignitary, na, and that is okay because that has been agreed upon by all the states. So that's just part of the exchange between them, or as a sign of respect to these uh, representatives of the state. And then exclusiveness. Only the state possesses it. Nobody else, not even the people, not the government, but just the state. And it is also absolute. It cannot it cannot have a partial sovereignty. It's either you have it or you do not have it. It cannot divide that sovereignty also to other entities. Inalienability. So it cannot be transferred or given away by the state. I think I have also described that in number 4. And number 6, unity. It cannot be divided. There is only one supreme will of the state. So all these are part of the characteristics of the sovereignty. They are parcels of and they are part and parcel of the sovereignty. Article 2 of the UN Charter states this also. This right is given in the one state, one vote principle. So what does this mean now? Even if you are the smallest state when it comes to the territory, or there are only 10 people in your territory, but you are considered as a state, you can have one vote. So just like when we are voting here in the Philippines, for as long as you are a citizen and you are qualified to vote, then you are given one vote. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are. So the same thing also with the state. So that's the power. Okay, so thus, despite tremendous differences in size, population, economic strength, and military power, each member state has equal recognition under international law. But of course, this one is a bit misleading now because we have what we call the superpowers. In the United Nations, these superpowers do have more powers than the rest of the states, but we will not go to that anymore. Suffice it to say that for as long as you are a state, you are entitled to one vote. And you're also entitled not to be a part of that international organization if you want to. But in a state like ours, of course, we need the protection of such an international organization. So, such principle was further promoted in the UN Declaration on Principles of International Law concerning friendly relation among states adopted by the General Assembly in 1970. But you have to understand that the international community or the international law is a very complicated thing that uh, because of sovereignty, again, even if United Nations thinks that what this country is what this country is doing is wrong, and once they have decided that, for example, if there was a case before them in the international tribunal, and then they would decide now, okay, you are wrong. They cannot just impose that decision on that country without that country's permission. Now, just like what happened in China. Now we have won over the Spratleys, over these islands. The international court has recognized it is really ours, and China is really usurping its power. It's becoming greedy. But then, the international court cannot just say to China, oh, umalis ka na dyan. No, because of sovereignty, they still have to ask China, do you accept the decision of the international court? So that's the tricky one. No, so we are just working on the magnanimity of China, hopefully, but with the way things are, I don't think it will. But we should still stay positive about these kinds of things. Okay, anyway, so that's sovereignty. I hope you had a better grasp of what sovereignty is. Okay, so that's about it for the second part of our discussion. Thank you.